Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
But who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And what he do?
And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, which means I've got 25 years of experience of kicking some major ass. And so, I mean, all it means is that I have been through a lot of trials. I have had 4 judges, 4 lawyers, 4 prosecutors vouch for my credentials. I've taken 2 exams. I'm tried, true, and tested in trial, in the courtroom. And so why does that matter? That only matters because when I show you an analysis, whatever case I'm analyzing, I'm doing it with the lens of an experienced criminal defense lawyer. Now, today we're reacting to the death of Tyrie Nichols caused by 5 Memphis police officers. Let's talk about this for a little. But before we do, this is brought to you by eSign.com. It's eSign.com. eSign.com is an effective way to remotely sign documents and to get any kind of a business that you need to get done remotely. I use them for retainer agreements when my clients are out of state. You download the app, you get 3 free signatures a month. They'll take good care of you. It's actually pretty awesome. All right, so aside from that, first of all, let's just talk about why Tyrie Nichols was stopped. He was stopped for a bullshit traffic violation. I don't even care if it was a flagrant traffic violation. I don't care if it was the most egregious traffic violation you've ever seen in your motherfucking life. You should not be killed because of a traffic stop. Period. It should never happen. Now, we all saw the video, and I'm not going to react to the video because the video is heinous. And you watch these guys beat the shit out of this. And even if he's resisting, even if he's being a dick to these officers, which I submit to you, calling out for your mother is not being a dick to these officers. But if you are being a dick to the officers, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I'm pro-police. You know why I'm pro-police? Because they take people off the street and they feed my children because then they charge them with crimes. All part of the system, right? But I am not pro-abuse of the system. I'm not a fan of over-policing. I'm not a fan of abusing our citizenry. So if you look at Tyrie Nichols and the beating that he took, it is very reminiscent of Rodney King. Very reminiscent. And my contention is this. I think we have an undereducated law enforcement in this country. I think law enforcement should have a 4-year degree with a minor, at least a minor in psychology. Because what do? They deal with the public. They need to know how to manage situations as opposed to manhandle situations. I've heard like Reverend Al talk about they likely wouldn't have done this to a white guy. I don't know that to be true or not true. I'm not going to pretend like I'm more educated than anybody else on the issue of race because I'm not. But it certainly is a police thing. And I've seen it where police go like full tilt. It's them against us. And I'm sure that's the way some of these guys look at it. My uncle was a cop in Rochester, Minnesota. Over 30 years, he never drew his weapon. Different time, different era. I get it. I mean, he's long since passed, and he was, and his heyday was in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. But he went 30 years without drawing his weapon. In a small town, Minnesota, I get it. So you're not going to have what you're going to have in the big city. These guys weren't drawing their weapons either. They were beating the tar out of this kid. They beat him to death. That is so ridiculous. You know, in the George Floyd case, I didn't think that Sir Tao, I think it's Tao, I didn't think that he was going to get convicted because he was, his back was to everybody. and he was directing traffic away from everybody. But he was part and parcel of the whole thing. And when you think about it, even if you're not part of the crowd, even if you're not part of these 5 officers who are beating the shit out of this guy, and you show up on the scene later, you know what you have? You have a duty to render aid. You have a duty to stop what is happening. That's why one of the officers in the George Floyd, who was just holding his legs and he said, shouldn't we turn him over? He had more of an affirmative duty as an officer to that person laying on the ground dying. And that's what these guys had. They have an affirmative duty to not do harm. If this kid was sitting there, it shouldn't make their balls so fucking big that they have to get over on him. What's their job? Their job is to affect law enforcement, enforce the law. And what did he get pulled over for? Now, I haven't seen the beginning of the squad video, so I don't know whether they actually had a legitimate reason to stop him. I don't know if they had any beefs in the past, and it really doesn't matter. What matters is the length that they went to effectuate arrest. What is lost in a high-speed chase by letting somebody go? You can get him later. If you have his license plate, you can go to his house and wait. But by engaging in a high-speed chase, and in a high-speed chase is no different than what these guys did. A high-speed chase is putting other people in danger just because your balls are fucking huge. And so then we have the issue of the reports that don't reflect what happened in the video. So it's code blue, right? It's, let's just, the code of silence, that we're gonna protect our own. So, this is kind of a preachy episode because I'm not really giving you news and that kind of thing, but I think it's really important to highlight the fact that these officers, all 5 of them, killed a guy who maybe committed a misdemeanor, and called out at his final moments of life for his mama. Honestly. And let me tell you what these guys are going to go through in this trial. They're going to say they acted under the color of law, that they're going to have to say they reasonably feared for their life. It might be a little bit overcharged in the sense that they have to prove in this second-degree murder statute that they knew they were going to kill him. How can you come to any other conclusion when you see these men, and then none of them are little, these big burly guys, maliciously beat this young man over and over and over again? What would be lost? What would be lost by taking a step back? Nothing would be lost. Everything would be gained. He'd still be here. Tyrie would still be here. It's difficult to call your peers out when something is going down. It really is. But you have to be the difficult one. You have to do that. That's just the right thing to do. Because guess what? None of these guys are ever going to be officers again, and it would strike me odd if any of them walked the streets in the next 20 years. It might be a little bit overcharged. I don't know. And I'm only saying that just because knowing what a prosecutor has to prove. Certainly it's manslaughter. There's no question about that. And certainly it's felony murder because it's a felony assault. And is it intentional murder? We'll see if the prosecutor can prove that. But my heart goes out to the family of Tyrie Nichols. My heart goes out to the family of all these officers who made this fucking horrible decision. Because they lost a dad, they lost their husband, they lost, and he can't undo this. So keep that in mind. when you stop by the police, be careful. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon. We're doing some good work there. And say a prayer for the Nichols family. See you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.
23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?